Welcome to How It Works with Holger. In case you watch these in sequential order, there has been a summer break, but we're back. Let's start with something after we come back from our summer vacations, most likely, and we've dozens of pictures and we don't know how to sort them. We just got a bunch of file names. So this one is for you because I'm going to show you how you can use components in Delphi that you can use to read additional information from your images. And the next thing I'm going to show is, after reading that information, one of the information pieces is the location. So you will be able to place and organize your photos by location. If you're looking at this shirt, I found this during my stay in Germany in my cabinet, and it must be one of the original Delphi launch shirts. I think it's at least 10 years ago. I don't know. I thought I wore it after coming back from the summer break. Formally, we call this EXIF data. Don't ask me what it stands for. Doesn't matter. The key is what is available. Camera settings like model, make, information, the orientation, like aperture, shutter speed, focal length, all you might desire to categorize your photos, but also basic image metrics like pixel dimensions, resolutions, color space, the file size, date, time, and location, latitude, longitude. And of course, if you use tools like Adobe Bridge, for example, you can add tags. These descriptions can also be read, as well as your copyright information. We're going to build a very simple Windows VCL application, no fancy stuff. And I'm also going to keep it all in one window, so you might separate it into different classes in your real use project. Before we start writing the application, let me show you the two key components that we're going to use. Number one is an EXIF component, the T-Advanced Cloud EXIF image. And it is part of the VCL Cloud Pack. Don't confuse it with the FNC Cloud Pack. The FNC Cloud Pack does not have this control yet. And this control, if you look at the object inspector, has a property for each of the different items in your images. And it supports all the image file formats that can be registered in Delphi right now. So two are PNG and JPEG. These are the two that support EXIF. Just by mere coincidence, I copied a file name into the clipboard. All the information of that image with the file name IMG and so on, it's date and time, I guess, is being shown. It shows the date time when the picture was taken was August 24th, 2022. And I get altitude, I get the camera make and model, like from Apple, iPhone 13. And you get all the additional information that is available in the EXIF format. Just like that. For you as developer, it means simply assign the file name property and all the properties are being updated for that image that you assigned to the file name. Very, very easy. So the second step that we have to take care of is, how do we add latitude and longitude? How do we add a marker to a map? And for that, I'm going to use FNC maps. Another great toolset from TMS. You simply drop the map on the form. Let me drag the EXIF image down here, resize it like this. And then by default, they select the Google map, because this framework allows you to switch different mapping providers by flipping one property. So you go to the service property. Right now it's set to Google Maps. I'm going to switch it over to Open Layers, and boom, there's the map without API key. And that's the difference. If you want to use any of the other providers, for example, Google, you need an API key. You get the API key from Google. But if you just want to quickly drop a marker on a map to show people where something is, just drop the control and set the service to Open Layer, because that's available for free under the license conditions that Open Layers gives you, but you definitely don't need an API key to use the map. And with that, you have your map and need to be able to add a marker to the map at certain coordinates. The coordinates you get from the EXIF image component, and then you can simply call the correct method on that component to add the marker. That's how simple it's going to be. Of course, we have to build a little bit of architecture to show the image dialog, select the image, and then drop the marker. That's it. I'm also going to show you how it looks with Google because I have a Google API key. I'm going to copy paste that in there so it looks a little bit different than using open layers. So let's get started. I'm going to leave everything as is. I'm going to rename the EXIF component to EXIF. It's a non-visual component, so it's not going to interfere with the map. Sadly, the designer so far sometimes shows it on top of it or below. That might change. So the map should be having anchors, or what you can do, you can set AL alignment to AL client and then set margins to make it look like that. We're going to use anchors because on top, I want to be able to have some sort of toolbar. In this case, I'm just going to use buttons to make it really easy for you. And the button is going to have the caption show image location. And we're going to name it name button show location. And the form or main, well, it's going to get caption show image location on map, like so. We save the project. At this point, we already have a working map. I just want to show you without doing anything. Like we can zoom in on the map, zoom out on the map. We can resize the window, and we got full control of the map. And the same works, by the way, for Google. Let me do the switch now. So I switch the service to Google by selecting the map and then going to the service property. I could do this in code as well. That's the nice thing about FNC Maps. You can do everything in code or at design time, prepare everything at design time. All up to you. Of course, you can also switch the different providers while your application is running. Of course, provided you need the different API keys for the different services. So you can even leave it in the hands of your end users, which map you're going to show. So we're going to Google Maps. I'm going to select the API key, and through sheer magic from the clipboard, I'm going to insert my API key. And just in case, I'm going to paste it here. And even if you see the key, it's restricted to my IP address, so don't even try copying it. It's not going to work. And with that, the map is updating to a Google map. And again, if you run the application at this point, you're able to navigate the map, and you're also able to use the different features from the different providers. For example, satellite images, and you can also go here. Let's go to Statue of Liberty, like so. So Street View is also available. Code I've written so far, just to make a point of this, 0. That's Delphi's power. I haven't written a single line of code, and I have a working map with Street View and everything inside of a Windows application, deployable as a single executable. So now, how do we load the image and show the location? So for that, I'm going to use a simple file open dialog from the Vista dialogs category. So it's the file open dialog. Simply going to name it dialog open. And as options, I'm going to say the path must exist, the file must exist, and as file types, I'm just going to add JPEG. I'm well aware of the fact that there's a picture open dialog, but I don't want any of the other image formats. I just want JPEG in this case. So JPEG, start out JPEG, like so. And with that, open image as the title. I can write my method on click, show image location. And it's a new method, procedure, show image location. Control Shift C, it's implemented. I can say if dialog open dot execute, it returns Boolean if the user selected a file and the file exist because we have that in the options. So we can simply now assign it to the EXIF control. So exif.filename is dialog open.filename. At this point, we can access any of the EXIF properties here, like date time, latitude, the equipment make, equipment model, and so on. Everything's available at this point. The only thing we want, though, is the latitude and longitude. So we're going to create, latitude, longitude, T, oh, it's not a T, it's a simple double value. So our latitude is EXIF, and I type latitude, and our longitude is exif.longitude. Okay. So we have the coordinate. Now we need to tell the map what to do. Well, guess what? Map, say name map dot add marker. That's a method. We have two options here. We can either supply latitude and longitude as two double values, or we can pass a coordinate, which is a special record in the maps framework. Too much hassle. Just pass latitude, longitude. So we say lat, long. Title, you can put in a title, my photo, or we could use the file name to make it fancy. So exif, so dialog open.filename. So we could also provide a different icon if we wanted to. We're not going to do that. And let's leave it at this. So I run the application, click the button, and I can select an image. I've prepared two images right here. Also, something to remember, we added the file name at design time. I showed you how to add a file name. That locks the file, and also as the file name is inside your form, make sure you delete the file name before you deploy your application, because that would literally make the component look up that file each time you start your application. So make sure you remove the file name from the EXIF component. So now, click here, say open, and nothing happens. So we think. So we're in New York right now. The picture has not been taken in New York. So if we zoom out, there is the marker right here. This is where the picture was taken. So it would be kind of cool if the map not only added the marker, but also moved, right? So that's yet another easy command we can use. We can say map dot set center coordinate, and same thing, how long. That's it. And with that, the map should move. Again, picture, boom, there it is. So now the map automatically moves to the location. The zoom is also something we can affect. So we're at street level. So I can say zoom, set zoom level, for example, 13 is a good value, just from tinkering around and trying a few values. So I go here, let's take the other image. Boom, that's been taken there. So you can see immediately the map moves and everything. And these three operations would redraw the map once, twice, three times. So that might not be desirable. So what you can do is you can say map begin update, especially when adding a lot of different markers to the map. Try finally, and then map end update. So that is the same as you know from data sources or data sets. You call begin update, do all the operations on the map, and then with end update, the map will update and reflect all the changes you made. So let's run this again. And at this point, we already have a very useful application. Of course, you can extend it at this point to select multiple images. So if I hover here, see the title is also on the marker. So if I add another image, there you go. And the downside right now is if I add the second image, the map simply moves here away from the other one. Is it possible to keep all the markers I added in the same view? Yes, you can. So instead of just centering on one coordinate, you can use the function which is called, and I always enter bound because I cannot remember what the function is called. Zoom to bounds, that's the one I want. It has many overloads. And the overload that I'm going to use is map markers. And markers is a list of all the markers that you have on the map. And you can say to coordinate array. So that moves the bounds off the map so that you can see all the markers, but it also zooms in a way that all of them are visible. So zoom to a certain level, we remove that. And with that, we should get a wonderful image that is focused on all the markers we set. So let's select this one first, right there, very close. And then this one, and there you go, both are now focused on. If you were to add a third image, that would then expand and zoom accordingly. So yet another great feature. All of this only works after the map has been initialized. And that's one of the precautions you have to take when working with maps and FNC maps. Make sure that you don't interact with the map before it's ready. And the easiest thing here to do is we have the button show location. Let's disable that by default. And in the map events, you will find initialize map or something like that. It's called on map initialized right here. There you set button show location enabled to true. You can use a property. You can also in your code, I think it's advisable if you make later changes to your design time, button show location enabled false, like so, to make sure it's not enabled. And this, see, it's disabled a short brief time, and as soon as the map is initialized, it is being enabled. So that's it. So you're now able to read the information from your images, and you're able to place markers for each and every image on a map. And all you need is more or less 10 lines of code. If you liked what you just saw, there's even more what you can do with maps in Delphi. The whole mapping package comes with directions, with elevation, with ability to import multitude of points to draw on the map, the possibilities to integrate maps in your applications, Delphi applications, is infinite, more or less. And that's the reason why a couple of months ago I wrote a book about it, and this is the primary reference in addition to the product documentation if you want to know everything about FNC maps. It's available on Amazon. So please, if you like this video and you want to know more about FNC maps, this might be just the resource you've been looking for. And my wife even designed the wonderful cover right here. That's why I mentioned her as a contributor. So with that, thank you for your interest in how it works with Holger, and see you soon. I promise it won't take as long as the last time.